Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about the Kranvagn, or the Kranvagn, depends on how you pronounce it. But before we start, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe underneath this video. We're about to start, so grab a drink, as well as something to eat, and let's go! Alright, now we're going to be looking at this tank in the garage, or the hangar, whatever you want to call it. So, let's look at the camo first, because you cannot not mention the camo. Literally, the camo looks amazing. The teeth, the eyes, just look at how this tank looks without a camo, and when you put on a legendary camo, it looks amazing. The teeth, the eyes, the face, it's probably the best looking tier 10 heavy in the whole game. So yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way very quickly. And in terms of stats, I did almost 3,300 in the tank and 70% win rate in just over 70 games. So I think I can talk about this tank objectively. And overall, I have changed my opinion on the tank since it came out. But now let's look at the equipment. So no ventilation system. It gives almost no boosts, and the boosts are so tiny that you will not notice them. So instead, we increase our penetration to 270, and look at the heat penetration, 375. You can pen through any tank in the game with heat. Just load heat and smash any tank in the face. And then you have gun lane drive and vertical stabilizer, because we play more or less close range because we are heavy and we need to aim in quickly. Improved modules, improved assembly, of course, because the tank has no armor in the hull, so we just take the HP. Toolbox for obvious reasons, and then improved optics. Engine accelerator, because the traverse speed is already very good on the tank, so there is no point in having a better traverse. I'd rather increase the engine speed, the engine power, etc, etc. So yeah, in terms of shells, again, you could take around 15, 9, and 24, because the heat rounds do wonders, because again, 375 millimeters of penetration is crazy. And now in terms of consumables, oh, sorry, not consumables, provisions. We take the most expensive stuff, the fuel, obviously, the salmon, and of course, the increased HP. Now, in terms of consumables, again, I don't know when to use this. I don't have time to use it, and I think the gun is very accurate without it anyway. So instead, I just take the improved engine power and 2 repair kits, obviously. So yeah, that's just me. But now let's talk about the armor of this tank. Very quickly on the armor, the hull doesn't suck. The lower plate is a very obvious weak spot. The upper hull is decent. It holds most heavy tank shots. But then again, if someone loads gold, they're gonna pierce right through it. And the only good thing about this tank is the turret, obviously, and the 10 degrees of gun depression. But we'll talk about this in a second. And of course, the surprising thing about this tank is the sides. The sides do hold fairly well, if only under a slight angle. A key thing I noticed about the tank is the fact that it's an amazing brawler. If you hog up the tanks very closely, they can only see your turret, and they can absolutely do nothing. Just look at this video as an example. The IS-7 and both the object literally could not do anything to me. Alright, as usual, I have some juicy gameplay for you guys. I have a 6K gameplay I did the other day on the Kranvagn, and so yeah, you guys can watch that, and then I'll talk over, and so you guys can listen to me while watching some juicy gameplay, just to not bore you guys. So obviously the Kranvagn, how to play it. Obviously it has the speed boost, so you come up to very good positions at the start of the game. Peek out with your turret and use your auto reloader to give out a couple of shots and then dash back. That is literally how you play this tank. The armor is fairly well, is very good actually. It's not fairly well, it's very good. The only weak spot being the lower plate. And so that's the only thing you should be hiding. Other than that, everything else holds out very well. Now, this Sheridan in the game is going to be very annoying, and but at the same time, he's a very good player, and so he's using his rockets very well. As you can see, he hit me right in the face, and he's going to be really annoying throughout the game. So I'm going to be trying to focus him, because I think he's a super unicum player. It turns out wrong, but that's a topic for another day. So basically, the Kranvagn, again, the only thing that I really don't like about the tank is the speed. It is quite slow, and in terms of engine power, it's worse than most heavy tanks. It's probably one of the worst heavy tanks in terms of engine power at tier 10. I looked at the stats the other day, and I was kind of shocked. The only thing that saves the tank is the speed boost, obviously. And so it's very good at the early/mid game when you're holding position, using your auto reloader. But at the end game, where you need to dash and run for damage, it's going to be very, very, very slow. So that's what I found. And dealing damage with it is sometimes hard compared to, for example, the AMX 50B. But then again, I was very wrong about this tank when I first talked about it in my previous video a month or something ago. I said the tank is complete trash, unplayable, blah blah blah. But then I tested it out, so I got the tank myself, thanks to Tom. Shout out to Tom. He helped me get this tank. Well, he didn't help me get this tank. He pretty much got this tank for me, and so yeah, shout out to Tom. But anyway, talking about the tank again, I said it's trash, and I was very wrong. I played it myself. It is actually very, very strong. I would say it is probably one of the stronger tier 10 heavies after the AMX 50B and the FV. This is probably the better tank for, obviously, older players that already know how to play the game. One hard thing about this tank is the fact that it's an auto reloader. This means it's going to be hard for some players to play with. Why? Because sometimes they're not going to wait for the second shot, or they will wait for the second shot and they're going to miss their target, etc, etc, stuff like that. And you constantly have to look at the numbers and pay attention to everything on your screen, which means that not all new players will be able to play this tank efficiently. And so for older players, this is probably the best option after the AMX 50B, just because of how good it is. The gun is very good, the gun is solid, the auto reloader is very well balanced, and the armor again is also very, very well balanced. The only thing lacking is the speed, but you do get the engine boost or the speed boost for compensation. But then again, after it runs out, you are pretty much screwed. So you use this speed boost to get into position at the start of the game very quickly, and then you play off of that position throughout the game. This isn't a tank to be, changing flanks, blah blah blah. You choose a position at the start of the game, and then you push that position or hold that position, and you play off of your auto reloader. And that's why it's very good for the early and mid game, as I said previously, but then it is very, very mediocre for the late game. That is what I found, at least in my opinion. It is a mediocre damage dealer. I mean, in terms of DPM, it's 1,900, which is kind of trash. You don't look at DPM on auto reloaders, but then again, the first shell reloads over 11 seconds. 11 seconds is crazy long. Look at the Chieftain, for example. The Chieftain reloads at around 7.5 seconds, and that's just crazy. The DPM on this thing compared to tanks like the Chieftain, E5, and the FV is just like, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference, and that's why it is hard to do damage at some certain times throughout the game. But other than that, the tank is very good. It is probably one of the best tier 10 heavies, probably top 3. So AMX 50B, FV, and then this tank. So but again, only for older players or players that already know how to play the game. That's all I have to say about this tank. It's a very good tank, very solid tank. I completely changed my opinion on this tank, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. Happy is out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.